who's interested in applying. The application can be found on the Calvert Police Accountability Board homepage at the bottom under Apply to Serve. So the members who terms ending, if you're interested, I'm assuming you have contacted the board office about that. So it would be on the agenda probably within the next 3 meetings that they have. Okay. And you're all aware of on June 25th, there's a Police Accountability Board training session, in-service training session. And if you have not registered, registration is required for that. We're fortunate it will be in this building, so you do not have to travel to Sykesville or any of the other locations for that training. Because I serve on both the ACC and the PAB, I'm only required to take the ACC training. But I encourage everyone to take that training. It's not required, but it's recommended because the PAB never had training before. So you get a look at what's going on around the state. Probably talk a little bit about what other jurisdictions have done in order to implement their PAB. So it'll be a good training session for you. Next, we have the complaint report. Where's my clicker? And just to give you a summary, what we did with this report, we compared it to the same period last year. So if you look at the left-hand side, that's 2023 from January to May 17th. And on the right-hand side is 2024. So at this time last year, we had 16 cases. So far, we have 15. Cases reviewed by the ACC for 2023 was 10. Reviewed by the ACC so far, we have 5. The cases are coming in now. They're pretty slow for the first 4 months of the year, but we do have several pending now that we will be reviewing at the next meeting. I want to point out that there is a 30-day requirement that we review the cases in 30 days, and we are consistent with that. And the cases that are pending right now, most of them are in for review, I think, right, Liz? The cases, so we'll be going over those cases when we meet in June as the ACC. We've had 3 cases not eligible for review this year so far. Cases resulting in administrative charges, we've had 1, and 1 also this time last year. And I already mentioned that cases pending review, we have 5. Now there are 3 similar complaints regarding the same incident, but we still look at it and we will determine whether we can combine those or not as we go through the process. Questions on this report? Okay. The next report is a number of complaints by agency. So we have, as I mentioned, 1 case administratively charged, 3 cases, 5 cases reviewed by the ACC so far. We have 3 cases that are not eligible for review. 1 was a complaint for the Maryland State Police, and for that case, as you know, they are not, those complaints will not come under this board. It comes under the state structure that's similar to this. And we would get an update from the state police. They are not here today, but we would get an update from the state police regarding any cases or complaints from citizens in Calvert County. You've seen that report in the past. We will not get that report tonight, though. So for the Sheriff's Department, from January to May 22nd, we had 13 complaints that came in. So at this time, unless you have some questions, any questions on that, on the complaint reports?
Yes, question here, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
The 13 that came in for the sheriff's office this year, was
Yes.
that consistent with what came in during the same period last year?
Last year, what we had, cases reviewed, probably be the total 16, right, Liz? 16 this time last year for the sheriff's office.
Correct, because we were reviewing cases from 2022 last year, so
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Okay. Thank you.
So there has been a decrease in the number of cases we're getting, and we've made significant improvement in terms of the recommendations we have made to the process overall.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Okay. Sheriff? Next is we have under new business, the presentation of the sheriff's office report for the first quarter of 2024.
Afternoon, everybody's already doing good.
Great.
Starting to get some good weather coming in, right?
Yes.
When I was elected sheriff a year and a half ago, we instituted this quarterly report, and we just pushing it out to the public. And we like to show the public what we're doing out there, being proactive in our community, and the good things that our deputies are doing each and every day. And I kind of give a message of what the quarter kind of overview of that. You can find this on our website, and I think we're going to post it on your guys' website, I
think
believe.
so.
It's linked virtually to
Correct.
the agenda.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
We want to get it out there as much as we can to let the public know. But during the first quarter, we sworn in new deputies. I participated in legislative committee, which was a busy session this first quarter. We attended Board of County Commissioner director meetings and staying in kind of the same page with them too as well, because they do hold, I mean, as you were a commissioner too, there's a lot that goes on, and it's good to be all on the same page. So we have those meetings every week with the county commissioners. Along with the budget, I know the budget's been tight, and me and being proactive in it, we've kind of reduced some areas that we felt needed, and to help out our students out. I know that our school board got cut $22 million from the state, so we're all trying to support each other in this cause to make it better for everyone. Participated in legislative committees. We've done that too as well. We expanded our neighborhood liaison program, so out there, if anybody's listening, in your neighborhood, you can our deputy adopt a neighborhood, so we can have a better pulse of what's going on in your neighborhood rather than something being forgotten, which is kind of good to see. I know Deputy Claggett up in Apple Green, he was invited to their Easter festivities. We've had deputies going to the cookout, so that's where I want to see this thing go, is having that engagement with the deputies in the communities too as well. So I mean, it's been working out well. So if you have a neighborhood out there and you would like us to have a deputy assigned to that neighborhood, that is perfect. That's what I want to see out there. So.
Okay.
I attended drug court graduations. We actually have one coming up tomorrow. That's our program with Judge Chanley. We have folks in there trying to rehab, get back in the community, and be a productive citizen. So that program is actually working quite well. I think we have 160 citizens that are in that drug court program. We have a graduation tomorrow, which is pretty good to see. You guys are welcome to come tomorrow at 1 o'clock in Judge Chanley's courtroom. We welcome the new K-9 deputy too on board this quarter. There's a lot involved in training with the K-9, talk cost. I mean, it takes about 6 months to get that deputy trained up with the dog, so they do a lot of intensive training to get that dog on the street. Active shooter training, we've been proactive in that too. A lot of our churches have been reaching out to us. We've been trying to do that. So if there's a church out there or a large business, we do active shooter training out there to get what to do, how to report it, what you're going to see when a deputy arrives on scene. So it's good to know with your business or whatnot, or churches or large gatherings that we have, places like that. So this last quarter too, we've had Calvert High School. All of our deputies went through that active shooter training too as well in the school. Behavioral health is a big issue in our community, so we've been proactive in that too as well. and I've been working with with Jennifer Moreland, the director, and my assistant sheriff, Colonel Payne, and trying to make our community better with mental health. I know at 85 Main Street, we're gonna have that open too as well, helping the homeless. And what that's gonna offer to those folks is that better resources to them, offer them resources to get them back on their feet. So it hits my heart because I am a Catholic and a Christian, and I think that we need to be doing more for these folks because we do have a large homeless population for the size of our community. So trying to help those folks too is part of my mission too. So
Could you tell us a little bit more about 85 Main?
yeah, the county, we kind of put our heads together and we purchased a home on 85 Main Street, which is going to be kind of mental health, homeless. It's going to be able to help folks, point them in the right direction, get them on their feet, and hopefully at some point when the colder weather comes, or if they don't have a place to stay, they can, hopefully we can expand that to shelter if needed. Because we have Project Echo down the street and that thing stays full. It was very, very rare to get a bed that's open or get somebody in there long term. So, and then we have Safe Harbor too as well for domestic violence victims too. So that stays full too as well. Actually, you see my quarter report. We facilitated donations for that community too because I take domestic violence seriously, and we've been proactive in that too as well. So a lot going on this quarter.
Is there an online presence to learn more about the 85 Main Street, or is it?
It's right now. It's in the ground state. I mean, we got it. We're basically putting that thing together. So it's going to be soon, and I'll make sure that information gets out. Because a lot of everybody was gathering around the library. We had a lot of complaints of people bringing their kids there, and we had the homeless around, and so this gives them the opportunity to somewhere to go and get those resources they need to help them get on their feet. So, and hopefully they can utilize that. We can kind of point them to that direction, and because a lot of them don't know about it. And what I've realized is out there is the sheriff and talking to them and getting out there and get to know them, our deputies report back. A lot of those folks they're not even from here. I mean, and what they said is that we're nicer over here. That kid was 18 years old, homeless from St. Mary's. He comes over here. I guess the donations that he gets from standing on the corner or whatnot, or the resources that we offer as the county, that's what he told us. So that's kind of the feedback that we get with that. A big thing I will.
Sheriff,
Good.
how different will 85 Main be than what not Safe Harbor, what Project Echo offers? Is it broader than a shelter? Is it providing like mental health services? Like
Correct.
in
Yeah.
that
So it's the
building?
services. I think Project Echo offers the long-term solution to somebody needing shelter, food, stuff like that.
Right.
But at this point, we were doing nothing, and I think that the county is doing well on making this happen, so we can have somewhere we can facilitate those people that need the help and need to find shelter.
This
and
is
food.
more like a short term, like quick stints.
Correct,
Figure out what
yes.
they need, point them in
Absolutely.
the right direction, sort of thing. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I commend the county on doing that too as well, because they were big pushing that forward. So, and I think it's needed in our community right now. I mean, as you can see, we get a lot of complaints on the homeless. People asking for donations out there at the shopping centers or whatnot. And hopefully they can use this. And if you see anybody that the church-based community that can push that out too as well, that'll be coming soon. So. And hopefully we can start here and make it bigger. I know that a lot of folks here care about people, so as we have the end hunger and the food pantries and all that stuff, I mean, you can see the line at that right there on right before you get to Route 2 at Chesapeake Church. I mean, that line there's along every day as they give donations for food for people that are hungry. So we're looking at making that bigger. My job as the sheriff is just not policing our community, but I think it's me bringing positivity and broaden our services as far as what we can do for people just outside of policing them. So GPS is huge too. I talked about this. We got all of our GPSs installed through Legit on our vehicles, so that got taken care of this quarter. And
That's pretty fast.
it was actually the check it got stroked pretty in a timely fashion with the insurance company, because not only did it lower it, it helps them too as well as far as driving behavior. So that's kind of like when you have your kid on, I guess, State Farm or, I think whatever that group does. If you have that chip in your car, it lowers your insurance. But as you can see, our insurance is high now too. I have a young driver on mine, so.
Briefly explain, because the public's listening, the GPS project.
Yeah, so basically it's installed in the vehicle so we can tell what neighborhoods or where a deputy is by speed, location, and stuff like that. And it's worked really well because we can identify a speed in a certain pinpoint area which a deputy is traveling, which is, it's not me being big brother or me pointing at them, but it is a good way to know where a deputy's at all times for a safety standpoint. And it's also at the same time keeping our community safe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and it's actually had a tool. So we had a individual said his neighborhood wasn't being policed enough or deputies' presence there. So we can look and see who's been there, who's not been there, and we can kind of send deputies to that area to better it. So.
And if you got complaints about a deputy speeding, you got documentation right there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's more of a, so a lot of it's delayed. You had to do through our dispatch GPS system. This is more of like a live version of it. So, so which is, it's better for us. It saves us money too at the same time. And I think it's, the big point for me is the safety of the officer. So if he's not answering he or she's not answering the radio, we can identify where they're at all times. So,
Okay.
a big thing too is my push for behavioral health for our deputies. We've got pretty much all of our deputies, and we're going to do that on an annual basis. And we've got a lot of good feedback of dealing with issues, not just with our deputies at work, but also in the home life. And it's my goal too, as well as them, as their leader, to not only look after them, physically, but mentally too as well. So I mean that's huge, and we've been getting a lot of positive feedback there too, because we have officers on the board. I mean we're dealt with a lot, and we see people at their worst times and their worst days, and we come in the middle of that and be able to handle the situations that we're dealing with. Suicide's real big right now. A lot of deputies seeing a lot of things out there that they're exposed to, and they're expected to go home, put the uniform on, be a dad, take it off, and go back and do it again the next day. So, so this has been huge for us too as well.
It is.
And just the, I know we talked about the numbers here too. The first quarter, calls for service were at almost 26,407. So, you look at the complaints that we have. I mean, how many incidents that we have that the deputies are gone to during the first quarter. Traffic warnings, 6,700. Traffic citations are right around 1,200. DUI arrests is 72. And traffic accidents is still a little high for me. It's at 370. So that's anywhere from a fender bender to a major accident. So
you count them all here.
correct. Yeah, they're all lumped into this stats here.
Okay.
But our fatals, I don't have any wood to knock on, but our fatals have been lower than they were approaching summer this time last year. So, and I encourage people to drive, take their time. We have a lot of young drivers on the street, a lot of elderly drivers too as well. I mean, I saw it the other day where she's trying to get over. She's old, you can see that, and they just I ask people to be patient with them. So. And that's all I have from our quarterly report. We put some of our major incidents that we had. Our detention center is doing well too as well. We're fully staffed there. We had 7 openings, and we just hired 7 new correctional deputies there to fill those holes. We're doing a lot better than our surrounding jurisdictions with their, and I approach this by, we have a lot of young good people, kids that live in our community, young adults. I just witnessed Calvert High School. I walked through there again today. I mean, there's a lot of good kids there, and me as the sheriff like to push. You can work at our detention center at 18 years of age and get in that retirement, get health care. I mean, it's huge to start that in your life. And also the county offers college education too, so you can work, get your school done, and get paid at the same time. So talked to a lot of students today about that.
Any,
And then me as the sheriff, we have our twin beaches, so I work for 2 mayors too. They seem to be pretty happy as we got the summer kicking off, and the first Fridays we get a lot of people that attend those too as well. But that seems to be going well too as well.
That's great.
And me too. On top of all that, we have the homeland security issues with the two power plants, LNG and Dominion, just out there in Lusby. So that's a lot going on with that too as well. So a lot going on in our small county. It's so.
This is very informative.
Yeah, I love
It
this
is.
thing, thank you.
Yeah.
We
I
put a lot of
appreciate it.
information on there, and we like to highlight some of the stuff that we do to the citizens, and me as the sheriff, I want to put out there what the taxpayers are paying for. So, I mean, we're working hard out there, and you know, I believe that it's my mission to give the best police service that we can, and I think that Police Accountability Board, that we've had a good year and a half, almost 2 years together, and I think this makes us better. So.
Yeah. And this is available on the sheriff's website, this first quarter report, and it's also available through the link of this agenda for this meeting. Okay. Any other?
And they put it on Facebook too.
Oh, Facebook, okay, good,
And we
Any
push it
questions?
out to the county government website too as well.
fantastic, that's great. Any questions or comments?
I just have one question. You mentioned in a previous meeting that there was a speed camera up near Calverton School. Have you gotten, feedback, the results of that, the placement of that camera? Good, bad, speeds, high, low?
We still have a lot of speeders that come through there. We've had some, anybody got any, I guess you got one?
I got one.
Okay.
No, no.
But what
I got one.
I've seen though, the behavior is changing, and that's the goal of that camera being there, because all of our cameras, you have to be going 12 miles an hour over the posted speed limit to get a ticket. So you have to be going 67 miles an hour past that camera to get it
And the
both
decimal
ways.
points count. Mine was 67.3. They tell
And,
you.
yeah.
What were you
And
doing?
we've had our own staff, if we're not going to a call or you don't have a legitimate reason why, we pay the tickets too.
Okay.
And also too, if you drive through there, we have a lot of young drivers that go through there. And that traffic there, I don't know what's about our schools, but it seems to be traffic nightmares around all of our schools. But coming in and out, they're trying to cross that intersection is dangerous. And again, we have a lot of young drivers that are trying to, and I have seen the behavior is changing in the speed. You can see when you're coming down the hill
Excellent.
southbound, you can see, folks that are on their brakes, because they don't want to get that ticket.
The empty cars are helping too.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Question, Sheriff. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I noticed that the Dunkirk Neighborhood Center, you guys are stationed out there. How's that been going?
Oh, so yeah, that was one of our biggest things during this quarter. So I was able to put 2 district stations. So I broke the county into it's opposite of the election polling station districts. So Dunkirk's always been District 1 in our GPS public safety mapping system. So we have one in Dunkirk, what is it, the Fair Landing Road, the old SunTrust Bank. So we're going to be housed out of there. District 2 is going to be headquarters right here. It's always going to stay here,
Okay.
which will be the Prince Frederick area, and we kind of broken that up. And then we have one in Lusby, the old Bank of America there too as well.
Okay.
We've had a lot of, as again, the budget. So I worked around my entire budget, and I paid that for myself out of my own budget, and just working on the longevity of that. Of those 2 other district stations is a lot of money, getting cameras in there. We're going to have safe zones for the citizens. So if you're uncomfortable buying something online, or you feel kind of eerie, or you get like that bad feeling about somebody meeting, you can pull up right up there. Everything's video and recorded, and you can make that exchange there. And child exchanges, we have a lot of that occurs right at our office there, with custody exchanges. You don't have to drive to Prince Frederick anymore. You can do it either at Dunkirk, Prince
okay.
Frederick, or Lusby.
That's an improvement.
And it's having that visibility and the presence in our community too as well. So that's another key. That thing's going to grow as we get funding to do that. So.
Okay.
Compliments, the tags, the new tags. I see that the vehicles have new tags, very classy. It's a good look. The vehicles, the patrol vehicles,
Thank you.
they're different, and also breaking the county into districts. I never understood why Calvert County never had districts, and to my understanding, the deputies were running from Dunkirk to Solomons, and just no districts. You're just
Yeah,
running.
it's like we're
everywhere.
in 2024, and then it's saving gas, it's saving
I was-
money. I got
yes.
all the deputies' gas
Yes.
cards. We have one gas pump for the entire county.
Yes.
So if you see them at the gas pump, say hi. So they all have gas cards that are assigned to that car. So everybody's like, you're giving the deputy, that gas card's assigned to the car. Each car has one. The tag thing, we're spending nearly $150 to put the numbers on the back window. Right now, that tag will stay with that deputy, and we can switch him out if he gets a new car, rather than scraping the numbers off and then putting new numbers on.
It's very
So,
nice. Good look.
Just the little things that we can kind of cut costs on. So
It's great. Any other questions or
Great
comments?
improvements.
Sheriff, thank you very much.
yeah, I appreciate it. Again, our deputies are doing well out there. As we're having our summer approaching, we got graduations coming up.
Oh, yeah.
So we have that on the horizon. But I just want to say appreciate anything you guys. I mean, you guys been asking good questions. I think this almost a year and a half we improved our policy. I think quite a bit, and as we're working for Kalia too as well, that's a 3-year process. We're in the middle of that too, so we will be certified sooner than
That's
later.
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Stay right there for the next one, and that's the recommendations that we have. And Scott, the chair of the ACC, if you want to join us at the table, you can also. ACC is Administrative Charging Committee. Scott chairs that, and I vice chair that. And the one recommendation that we have, and I'll briefly explain how we get to these recommendations. As we review cases that come before the ACC, and we look at policies or procedures, we see opportunities to at least notify the sheriff's office and make recommendations as how we can clarify or maybe add a policy. That's how the recommendation of CALEA, the accreditation organization, came up, and a lot of the other recommendations we've made to the sheriff's office, and I'm pleased to say we work very well together to get those recommendations implemented. So when a case is reviewed by the ACC and there is an opportunity to improve on a policy, the Police Accountability Board is the board that makes those recommendations as they come in. So over the last 3 months, we only have one recommendation today, and it's related to welfare checks. And the recommendation is that when, let me read it so I get it. A review of the policy may be necessary to determine whether it should specify that when a welfare check is requested, a deputy should make contact with the individual for whom the check is requested. That is when, I don't think it's clear now, when a deputy goes out, exactly what should be done there. So that's an opportunity, we feel, to at least review the policy and see if you determine whether it's clear enough for your deputies. We did receive at least one complaint on that. You want to comment on that, Scott?
It's just that simple. Your policy is well-written. It's not the responsibility of law enforcement to execute a child custody, mediate child custody. But if you receive a call and it's a minor, and you come to the house and said, I'd like to see whoever, and the parent that answers says, they're fine, well, that doesn't help that.
Right.
There's no closed loop on that necessarily, and it doesn't, really don't know if that minor is okay or not, or even an older person,
Right.
for that matter. So just, it's a service, and I realize it's not, you don't wanna get into the in between the custody issue, but.
Yeah,
you wanna
we
protect the-
yeah, we
protect
deal
the
with
child.
that a lot
So
with the custody.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's just a suggestion to take a look at that and
Yeah.
I'm on,
potentially way to improve.
and again, I think it goes back to the judges, and being more, detailed in that.
Mhm.
Because we go on what the judge lists in that order, if that makes sense. If a judge writes in there, you will make contact with whoever that person is, we will do that.
Right.
Again, like Mr. Deacon's saying, that a lot of times we don't want to infringe on people's rights or go into a home that we're not supposed to, and those custody disputes can get ugly. And we've
Yeah,
seen
they
a lot
can.
of that. And it's unfortunate because the kid's in the middle of it.
Right.
And I'll say this again, I know our deputies will make every effort to locate that person, the information given to us. And if it's an emergency, we'll do what we have to do to if we think something's beyond the child welfare.
Okay. Any questions or? So I recommend that we make that recommendation, so let's get it in the record by, if you feel that that's a recommendation we want to make to the sheriff's office, I'll entertain a motion.
We're only recommending that they review the policy?
Yes.
Okay,
And see if there's a need to change the policy.
I agree.
And we'll put that there to the public if
Make
you,
a
if,
motion?
yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
If you feel that, if anybody out there feels that the other parent's putting the other kid in danger, the judge can write it in the order.
Right.
And that gives us permission to do what we can to locate that
Yeah.
person.
It's not a simple situation.
And we see it all the time with those
Yeah.
exchanges. I mean, it gets ugly sometimes.
Matter of fact, I would say we've seen several cases, if you include the exchanges. There's a motion, do we have a second?
Question.
Could you
When
second
you-
so we can open it up for discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. When you have these situations, is there any time that you go back to the judge and you let the judge know this is the things we've done, we've exhausted our resources, and there's nothing more we
Yeah,
can do? Is the judge amenable to that?
Correct. So so basically, in that situation, we will tell the petitioner or whoever has the order or the agreement, custody agreement, that they do an emergency amendment to it because of the safety of the individual, whoever we're checking the welfare. And we get a lot of those from out of state. Mom, dad lives out of state. They call, want us to check on them here. And a lot of times, yeah, my kid's fine, you're not coming in my house. But nothing in that order is telling us that we can come in that house without a warrant. Now, if we think something is beyond that, I mean, the deputy can write a search warrant, get signed by a judge, and then we can go, I mean, you know how long that takes. So we can do that if we think it's something beyond the check welfare.
Can I just add to that?
Sure.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean,
What's
when
your
we go
name?
to these Major Dave Cannon with the Sheriff's Office, sorry. When we go to these calls, we take the totality of the circumstances into account,
Right.
We go to a call and if we heard a child crying, or the parent was acting strange, we would take us another step further to try to figure out what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, they have constitutional rights, Fourth Amendment rights for us to not come into their home.
Right.
Without a search warrant, without consent, without an exigent circumstance. So we have to honor those rights. If there was an immediate harm to the child that they could prove, they could validate, they could get a temporary protective order issued, that would give us legal authority to go in there and if that's in the order, take the child and return them to the other parent. So we take the totality of the circumstances into
Right.
account while taking your personal rights into account.
And they're all
also.
unique too.
Yeah, they're all
Each
unique.
situation.
Yeah.
And it seems,
Thank you.
everybody seems to call me too, so I'll get a phone call and can you just show him your kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine. And we get that, so. I get a lot of that. Phone rings a lot. So, yeah.
So we have a motion on the floor to recommend that the sheriff's office review the welfare check policy. And if you need to make a change, that's up to you, of course. We can make recommendations. Any more discussion on that? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Anything else?
Yeah,
sir?
going back to the district thing, just to add to that, so I assigned a lieutenant to every district.
Okay.
So that, it's what we call it in the military area operation, so that's gonna be that lieutenant's area, his baby, his area. So, a lot of times stuff was getting lost or another shift comes on, nobody knew what happened the day before, but that's my go-tos in that area. So, in those areas, get to know your lieutenant is, because he's gonna be the point of contact for that area, so. And a lot of them already, in the north, they've already, started reaching out to businesses. Yeah, I'm the guy. Lieutenant Basham's up there, so he's been talking to the neighborhoods, businesses and stuff like that to get to know he is the guy up there, so.
Okay.
Um,
So when you make changes like that, how do you get that out to this specific area that you're making these enhancements?
we've been putting it on our website, we've been putting it on our blotters. Facebook, we did the ribbon cutting with the commissioners, and put that out there. They put it on their blast there too as well. Again, we're putting a recruiting video out pretty soon, so our numbers look good compared to surrounding agencies that are hurting for law enforcement.
That's good.
So I've been actively recruiting, so I think we've had, 3 interviews this week for new deputies, so I like to make it personal because, rolling billboards are out there with my name on it, so, I'm responsible for all of them, so I kind of
Yep.
want to know who you are and who's responding to these types of incidents, so.
I think it's important that the leadership gets out there, especially for the recruiting process.
Absolutely.
That you are out there participating in who's, will be coming into the sheriff's office, and they answer questions and that kind of thing. I think that's very important.
It is, and we just had 4 that started Monday. They're in the academy now. So we have a tri-county academy that's in Nanjemoy, Maryland, Charles County, and myself, Sheriff Barry, Sheriff Hall, we're the directors of that. And that academy, I think, is second to none. I say that because we have all of our personnel that teach there, the instructors, and we all come from 3 agencies and train together, which is really nice to see. And we get folks that coming from the outside trying to get in our academy. I know it's at the end of the earth over there, but we have 4 that started on Monday. They're doing really well. So.
Oh, that's great. Glad to hear the positions are being filled. It's great.
They are, and it's an issue out there. It's a problem, and I say you guys, the ACC and the PAB, you guys set the tone for that because I've gotten feedback from other individuals that I've interviewed, and I guess their PAB and ACC are, I don't know what they're doing or whatnot, but a lot of negative feedback. So you guys, so we've had good conversations, and I think you guys are the community and
Yes,
part of that,
100%.
and I think we do this thing together because you guys do set the tone for that, so.
Yeah, and we met with the FOP as a community presentation as to what we do, and that went very well.
And I got positive feedback on that too.
It's great.
And again, if you guys want to do ride-alongs, you guys are welcome. Again, I'm working on that Police Citizens Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody from the board, somebody from other groups, you want to go on one?
I do. Sign me
Okay.
up.
Yep, we can definitely get
These
you on
retired
that.
officers want to go, all right?
You need to go on a,
We'll just let you take over. We'll give you a uniform.
I do have a question. I had an interaction with one of your officers. I don't remember his name. It was a couple months ago. But, I know some of the officers, they didn't know what to expect with the PAB and, a changeover from things they were used to in the past. And I kind of chuckled as it came up in conversation, and he was like, yeah, there's this whole new board, and I don't know even who's on it, and I started laughing, and I was like, I'm on it, and, it led to this very lengthy
Give
conversation.
you a business card.
Right, but it seems like maybe they don't know still, and I don't know how we could encourage them to come see what we're about, or go online and look at it, or, maybe put that in a group message or something.
We can
Just-
do that.
Yeah, that invitation is open to not only the FOP, but we've We've also made the presentation to the League of Women Voters, the NAACP, so it's open to any community group that would like Scott and myself to come out and give that presentation. Or anyone else who would like to give the presentation.
Just, maybe give them a chance to get to know us, to,
Yeah.
we're not,
Demons?
yeah, we're not trying to be the bad guy, we just,
Yeah.
It's change.
It's
Change can be
change,
scary.
Mhm.
and that's.
And I think me too. I mean, I've been informing our leadership, informing, and that trickles down to the deputy. I mean, I tell them we have a good board. I think it's made up of citizens that care about our community. And I think that takes all of us to do that. And I think me pushing that information down, I think it kind of comforts them a little bit. And maybe there's no need to really get to know. Maybe I just kind of.
He didn't seem to have a lot of information. Maybe, he glosses over it, or I'm not sure, but I just thought maybe it would give them some comfort if they, hey, there's a meeting this quarter, it's on this day, or I'm not sure how you would go about that, but just something to give them some peace of mind.
I'll stack the whole room up next time if you want.
That would be fantastic.
Do you guys have overlap? I mean, maybe they
We
can go
do.
back and watch the
Yeah.
video. Maybe that's an
Yeah.
option. I don't know.
I don't. It's just the PAB, the ACC, the way the legislation rolls out. It's the stigma of it is that we're all bad when we're not.
Right.
This thing's needed because we're all bad. I think that got put out there by when this all thing came about, and I think that I've been telling them that we've had good conversations in all the cases that we have that went forward to the board, and but by all means I'll have them in here next meeting.
Yeah, this was you make a good point, because this PAB and ACC was a major change for law enforcement in the state of Maryland. That's how things were
Body
done.
cameras. I mean,
And it was a major change that unless you're directly involved in a complaint, that's when you really get to go through the process. But it's, when you compare it to the Leo bar you had before and how we do it now, it's a major difference.
and when you take a deputy that's been doing this job for 25 years and you slap a body cam on him, and he still has a flip phone, I mean, he don't know how to really. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
tech savvy. I mean, awesome cop, but not really tech savvy.
Yeah. And what we have found, Scott can attest to this, is that the body cam helps both sides.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Absolutely.
And before this board, I think we were the first in the state to complete that. I think by law, we don't have to have them until 25 anyway.
Right.
We got those in there, got them on our deputies, and myself and the Colonel Payne, we ran patrol, and we've had, before the board started, people complain, and man, what you're telling me didn't happen because I'm watching the whole thing.
Right.
You're welcome to come sit down and watch it with me if you would like, and they've came in before and we played it for them, and like you said, both sides, it works.
Yeah. We couldn't do our job as ACC without those body cams. It gives us a lot of detail, along with all the emails and the audio pieces and all.
It's a lot that goes into it, like I tell you in the meetings, so that body camera stuff there is, it's approaching almost $500,000 to run that in our small agency.
Yeah, this is a
Storage, cameras, backup, all that stuff. We have to have an administrator that does it, what you met the other day. But yeah, it's a lot that goes into that.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Scott, any comments? Okay. Any comments from the board before we
A
go to
question for
public
the
comment?
sheriff for you, and perhaps I missed it, regarding recruiting, are you recruiting EPOs?
We are. We have one that reached out yesterday.
What's a PO?
Experienced police
Yeah.
officer.
Okay.
Oh.
I know, I just want the public to.
Yeah, the three I swore in here were all experienced officers on this
Okay.
page, yeah.
So you're looking for seasoned officers?
You want to go
Come on,
back to
Vernon.
work?
So if you throw that out there, I mean, I had a good meeting with our leadership at our school board, and they're in favor of having experienced officers walk the hallways with the pay of like a substitute pay. You would get paid to do it, but that's kind of on the wheels are not off the ground yet, but I'm like that we're having this conversation and talking about it. But
Is
That's-
that part
that's
of
in the
Calvert
works.
High?
that's any of our schools. I mean,
That's-
high schools probably primarily right now.
That would be fantastic.
And before we end, it's still my goal, my mission to have a deputy in every school and teach DARE. So that's another thing that,
Just to clarify that last, what you just talked about is not been a decision made yet, right? You're just talking,
correct, yes.
okay, I just want to clarify it for the public that's looking at.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
I mean, we were having those conversations, and it is, if
Right.
we have, we have a lot of retired officers that live in our community that would be willing to help out, so.
Yes, looking at too.
And a lot of them coach their mentors. I've seen it firsthand,
Yeah.
the kind of relationship built with our youth.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay. If no comments, thank you very much,
My
Sheriff.
pleasure.
Great job.
Thank you.
Scott, thank you very much, and I really appreciate going over the quarterly report too. It's very important for the public to know that it's there, and they can go and read it, and have any questions, they can contact the sheriff's office.
And we'll have, at our district stations, we'll have these printed out if you want to pick them out.
Okay.
Again, cutting costs and money, I'm killing trees, but it's on our line, but we'll have some hard copies if folks
Or
want.
just have the QR scan.
I'm still a book reader. I like to have a book in my hand rather than a
Okay.
tablet or whatnot, so I'm kind of old school in that fashion,
Okay.
so.
Okay. Board, any other comments from the board before we go into public comment? Okay. Thank you very much. At this time, we have public comment. And let me read the statement we have here regarding public comment. While all views and perspectives are welcome during public comment, be aware that speakers are personally responsible for their own expressions and comments. It is recommended that speakers refrain from commenting on unsettled claims or complaints and refrain from using names where possible. The PAB will accommodate public comment in person or by phone. Individuals who participate virtually should call or log in advance, and that was on the agenda that went out. And participants can call 301-715-8592 and use the meeting ID 841-7187-4462. Again, that information is at the bottom of the agenda. Speakers, whether in person or participating virtually, will be limited to 2 minutes as individuals or 5 minutes if the designated representative of an organization. So at this time, before we open it up online, is there anyone in this room that would like to participate in public comment? Come forward, give your name and where you live, and ask you to abide by what I just read.
Sure thing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Naquita Gross. I live in Prince Frederick. It's a great place. So I have more so a recommendation for the PAB for your own policies.
Okay.
I am a mental health professional by practice, and I have certifications in grief and trauma. And as someone who has been following the PAB since its inception, and even before, I have noticed that there is a limit on when people can file a claim to the PAB, a 1-year limit. And what I find working with people who struggle with grief and trauma, it may take time for them to get to a place where they can act on things that they want to do, especially seeking justice for someone they've lost. In my experience, working with people who have lost someone as a result of some form of police violence or misconduct, is something that prevents them and impedes their grief and healing process. So I recommend to you all to consider expanding that space beyond 1 year. Because the thing about grief is it's not linear. I'm sure we've all experienced some level of grief in our life, right? So we can't put people in a position to have to make a big decision to get their things in order while they're still trying to figure out what happened to the person they lost, how they're going to cover their funeral, and how they're going to move on with their life from here. So I just encourage you all to take that in consideration. Thank you.
Okay. And the 1-year limit. Scott?
The only legislation I recall off the top of my head, and I'm not bringing my book with me today, is that we could not see a complaint that proceeded July of
2022.
That was the
Yeah.
only limitation.
Yeah.
I didn't see that we have, it has to be seen, once we receive it within a year. We don't have.
They can't hear you.
You have to come up to the
I'm
mic.
sorry. And is John on?
John is on, yes, and he can hear you.
Yes. John, you'd probably be better to speak to this than I, but as I recall, that the year is how long we have to get through the complaint. Once
Right.
it comes in, we have a year to dispose of it.
Right.
It's not incumbent upon the person to complain within that year of the event. Is that accurate, John?
So the decision is to be rendered within a year of the incident, and the charging committee must act within 30 days of receipt of the sheriff's report. The sheriff has 1 year from the date of the complaint to submit that to the ACC.
Okay,
But
so,
you were correct, too, the starting point was July 1, 2020, so anything, or
22.
2022. So anything that preceded that was not within the jurisdiction of the board.
But based on what you just said, Mrs. Gross is correct that we have to act on, if there's a complaint, we have to resolve it within a year of that complaint.
Right.
So, yeah, we gotta take a look at that.
But if the
So,
complaint
the
came
question-
after the year, like it was 18 months or 2 years after the incident occurred, and then they filed a complaint, you have a year from the time the complaint was filed or from the time the incident occurred.
He just said the incident,
Incident?
which we have to look at it.
Okay. I was just trying to clear it
Yeah.
up in my head.
Yeah. So we'll take a look at it. But that's state. So if any correction, John, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that would be, if we change that, would that have to go back to the state or is the county commissioners?
That is part of the state legislation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else for comments? Anyone online?
There is one caller online. If you wish to speak, please press *9 to raise your hand. Caller, last 4 digits, 7439, has not raised their hand.
Okay.
No one wants.
We have no more,
Doesn't look like we have
we have no more public comment.
no more public comment. Hearing that we have no more public comment, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Stand adjourned. Thank you.